Hey you guys, welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another episode of this Spicy and Reports. How's everybody doing? We're doing great, Chiquita. Get to the point, get to the meat, get to the juice, get to the tea. How y'all doing? Alright, so this is going to be video 2. For those of you new to my channel, welcome aboard. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. I almost forgot to say that. Alright, so on this second video, I figured I would just do a little bit of chit-chatting, you know. Yesterday, I was watching, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this show. It is called I Survived Beyond and Back. And it talks about people, obviously, who have died and they went to the other side for a little bit and then they came back and they had these amazing, you know, things that happened in there when they transitioned over to the other side briefly and came back. It showed some people who went to hell. It showed people who obviously went to heaven and their experiences. And as I was watching that, I was listening to somebody's story and it was so beautiful, you know, and it was so amazing. It was, do I want to say that? I'll just say this. As I was watching the show, I remember thinking to myself, I said, you know, I've experienced, there was you know what, I'll just say this. I'm sorry, I don't mean to stutter, but I'll go ahead and say it. There was this young lady, and she was saying, she had passed away when she was a little girl, and she came back, and she said she kept those things to herself, her experience. She kept to herself. She didn't tell anybody. And I thought back to other shows where I've seen people who have passed away, and then they came back and they tried to tell people the things that they experienced, and the first thing out of their loved one's mouth was, "Don't tell anybody that. They'll think you're crazy." And I remember thinking to myself, in all those shows where I saw the parents do that, you know, a child would say, "I saw grandpa," or "I saw this," or "I saw that," and they would go, "Okay, well, you know what, let's not tell anybody about that because, you know," or it happened at a teenager, and they would go, "Look, you know, their parents weren't ready to hear it. They couldn't wrap their heads around it, so they were like, listen, just, okay, that's fine, but don't tell this to anybody else. They'll think you're crazy." And I remember thinking to myself, when I saw that, I said, why would anybody not believe that? You know, if someone had told me their experience, I absolutely could wrap my head around it and I would believe it. And as I said that, I looked at myself and I said, you know what? You're living proof why people don't tell anybody their experiences, because I went out and I told everybody everything that happened, all of my experiences, you know, these amazing, you know, psychic experiences, the time where I had that conversation with the angels, and I saw my grandmother. She passed away, and I woke up one night and I literally saw her standing next to her fan, you know, and I told people about that. And the time when I was with my boyfriend, I guess, guy friend, and we were sitting in the park, and then one day we looked up and he saw that UFO, and he pointed out to me. He was going, look, follow my finger, and then I saw it, and it left such a profound experience. The fact that we both saw it, it wasn't, you know what I mean, and that we both saw it, and it was so profound that for days after that we would go outside and stand on a balcony, because we saw it in the park, but we lived in apartments, and so we would go out on a balcony and just look like we're looking, you know, for to hope that we would see it again. It was that profound. It was that amazing, you know, that for days we hoped that we would see something like that again. And my daughter came outside, you know, and said, "What are you guys doing?" You know, and I told her what we were doing, and she was like, like really? And I'm like, yes, like really, that really did happen. He saw it and he had to confirm it. And it just kind of upsets me because I know if I went to, that person's a P word, and if I tried to say, contact them and say, I need you to do me a favor, can you just get with me real quick and I'll just make a quick video and you can help me confirm it. But he's the kind of person who, he's one of those people, who whatever other people say is what he'll do. He's very much in the world. He's a people pleaser to the umpteenth degree. Like I've never seen anything like it. If other people feel a certain way about me, he'll feel that way. But when it's me and him, then he feels me. But when we first started dating, there was somebody who would say, try to tell him not to date me, and he would kind of laugh and joke with him, and then I would go, why did you just do that? And then later on when he's with me, he's all full of love and the whole nine. But anyway, so yeah, it was and I was thinking to myself, this is why people don't, share their experiences. But I just want you guys to know that everything I told you guys was the gospel. It was the honest to God's truth. I will put my hand on any Bible. I will stand before the Most High himself and say, I saw these things, this happened, I experienced these things. And it has occurred to me that because I have had these experiences, it is why it is so much easier for me to believe when I see angel numbers, to believe when I see, because I've had so many spiritual encounters with the other side that none of this is weird to me, and none of it, and so when I hear, other people who, they're making it up and they just don't want to, admit it, or they don't want to say, I'm not afraid. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I know what I saw. I have had people who could confirm it, but unfortunately, because we are at odds, because I had my awakening, and I think that's the other thing that is a little frustrating. And anyone who's had an awakening, I think you guys, if you guys have had that level of intensity, that actual encounter with the other side proving to you that they are, you find other people and other everything now that used to be okay, that I used to follow, that I used to go along, the people pleaser and the go along. I spent the majority of my life, and I love it. It's weird. It's like people are like, she's so difficult, she won't do what the rest of us are doing, she won't I heard someone say once, she won't play the game. And I won't. That person was absolutely right. I won't play the game because I have spent the majority of my life people pleasing, going along, trying to win the respect of others and the whole nine. I have now reached that point, and then factor in age too, because when you get older, you really do go into, F it mode. You do. Because you're just like, I've done that. I've done it to death. And now factor in that I have seen these amazing things. And now I'm to the point where I'm no. I'm very comfortable now with speaking my truth. And I don't give a damn whether anybody believes it, And I think those who have had those experiences, those people who have died and they've come back, and every last one of them will tell you the same thing, that all of a sudden nothing's the same anymore. Because you now have knowledge, for a fact the other side is. They've shown you, you've had experiences to where you know what I mean, and they all say the same thing. Now all of a sudden nothing's the same anymore. I made a video when I first started. I used to work at a cupcake place, and I used to, and even where I work at now, I would listen to the conversations that went on around me, and they sound like Charlie Brown, wah 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 wah. You know what I mean? It just comes across as being so mindless and so pointless, and you know what I mean? And but that's because it's like you've seen something so amazing, you've experienced things, and now all of a sudden, everything now becomes so pointless because you've experienced it. And so I think that is why people say, oh, she's so difficult. Boy, that one is so difficult. They just won't do what the others are doing. They won't act like us. They won't do like us. They won't be us. I can't get that person to do. And it's because I have seen and I have experienced. So no, I'm not going to follow because someone says so. You know what I mean? And those of you who have had that awakening, once you have that, that experience or experiences, I've had so many where I told you guys I did an electronic reading, and it would say this, and then I would go, there's no way that could possibly happen, and then it happened, that I'm thinking about that one, and it blows my mind even to this day, where the reading said that you were going to receive assistance from a young man, and at the time I was trying to get away from my then guy friend. I was trying to tell him it's over and it's time for you to move on. He did not love me at all. I found out that he was cheating. I had a reading, and a woman said that this person is not only seeing you, but he's had conversations with his ex-wife, and there's somebody new that neither one of us knew about. So I was like, hell no. So I knew this has got to go. You got to get out of my house. Like clearly you're not feeling me, and go on. But he was using me as a roof over his head. So I remember saying to the father, I said, you know what? Because they told me, they said, you got to get rid of this person because something's getting ready to happen, and you need to get rid of this person, and it's very important, and hurry up. And I said, okay, and I went to him and I told him it's time to go. He didn't want to leave right away, right? He's like, well, I gotta save up some money, and I gotta find a place, and I gotta, even though he's got these two other situations going on, but he's making it seem like poor me, I don't have nothing, right? So I remember saying to the Most High, I said, I was told to get rid of him, and I can't get him to go. What do I do? And then that's when I saw that reading that says you're going to receive assistance from a young man. And I thought, I'm not, I was 45 at the time, and I was like, no way, I'm not effing around with no young guy. Like, that's crazy. I'm not doing that. That's not going to happen. And then one day, we were so at odds. This person literally would not eat anything I cooked. I made steak and baked potato, T-bone steak and baked potato, and he wouldn't eat it because he was at that point where he thought I was straight gonna poison him. Like we was really that far apart. You know what I mean? But why do you want to keep a roof over? Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, right? So I contacted my daughter. I said, listen, if anything happens this weekend, because I'm thinking he's going to do something to me, he's thinking I'm going to do something to him. So I let her know, if anything happens, there's a key under the mat, and use that to come in. Well, she got the message. She freaked out. She comes flying the next day into the house in tears, crying, and she went up to me and in tears, and she gave me a hug, and that's the most love I think I ever felt from her. But anyway, so and I said, what's wrong? And so she's trying to, she said, then the letter, and he's standing right there. She said, you said, and I said, shh, and I said, okay. I said, honey, come down. And as I'm trying to get her to be quiet, because I didn't want her to repeat what I, said, because he's standing right there. Down the hall comes this dude who is damn near took up the hall. He was big. When I say he was big and black, this dude was big and black, right? And he damn near took up the whole hall, and it gave me almost had a heart attack, because I was like, who is this man in our house, coming down the hall? I'm thinking that this was somebody he sent, right? And here he comes in the hall, and I'm looking, my eyes were as big as saucers, and I said, who is that? And my daughter said, oh, that's Just, and she said his name, right? And I said, come on, let's go outside, let's talk outside, because I didn't want to hear. And I go outside, and as I'm explaining to my daughter what the situation is, what the deal is, the man is standing right there, and he kept saying, I can help you, let me help you. And I'm so irritated by this person listening to what I was saying. I was trying to get him out of my face, and I'm more irritated than anything, and I'm trying to talk to her, and I'm thinking, I wish he would just get out of my face and go away. And he kept saying, I can help you, let me help you, I can help you. And so I eventually said, no, I appreciate it, thank you. And I sent my daughter away. I told her what the deal was, and they left. And as I come in and I sit down and I pull my laptop up, and light bulb moment, that's the young man who's come to help you. And so I was like, oh my God. And I had to hurry up and call him as soon as, and I said, can you guys please come back? And yes, I need your help. And yes, you're right, I do. And so he came back, and sure as shit, he got this dude out of my house. And after that, they had my undivided attention. And I told you guys that the very first reading, the very first thing it said is, you're being divinely guided. And that was the first part of this reading. You are being divinely guided. And it just went from there. And I saw thing after thing after thing happen. And then I started doing the readings, and I'm getting so good at it that when my daughter's father showed up, and I kept saying somebody's wearing a false mask. I keep seeing somebody's wearing a false mask. He kept saying, well, it's not me, and it's not me. These things happen. These happen. You see what I'm saying? When you have seen so much of the divine assisting you. I did a reading today, and they said it's time to act. I had it set in my head, I was never going to do this again. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. It's pointless. I'm not doing it anymore. And it said, it's time to act now. And then I kept seeing 10-10 all week long. 10-10, 10-10, 10-10, 10-10 in the morning, 10-10 at night. Every single night. And I was like, oh right. And I just was like, okay, so I'm making these videos now to let you guys know. This is very real. Whether you want to believe it or not means nothing to me, but I love sharing it, even though it sounds unbelievable to other people. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable that they saw this UFO. It's unbelievable that she saw her grandmother standing next to her fan. You see, it's in her fan, not my fan, because she had passed away, and her name was on an M. Brown, and I asked about her, inquired, and then, one night, because my son was a little baby. I think he was like maybe 4 years old at the most, I think, 3 or 4. And he was sleeping in bed next to me, and he liked to sleep with the light on. He didn't like to sleep in the dark, so I would keep the TV on. And everybody who is invading my privacy right now knows I like it black. And so yeah, and then I had the TV on, and I just happened to turn over and to see my grandmother standing there. And I did not go to her funeral, and I described her everything she had on, because she scared me so much. I sat up in bed and I was scared. I thought she was mad at me for having her fan, and you know what I mean. And no. She just wanted me to know she was okay, because I couldn't take her in the physical. The next night she came to me in dream form, and it was telling me how nice heaven was. Oh, it's just so nice, and I'm just, so, and she's going on and she's talking, but I'm more shocked that my grandmother's sitting next to me, and I'm like, why does she keep coming to me? Why is she coming to me? And she just wanted me to know she was okay, because she had led such a difficult life. And yet here she is to let me know I'm okay. You see what I mean? So When I talk to you guys about spiritual things, I'm not making it up. It doesn't serve my purpose to make any of this up. And when I am talking to you guys about angel numbers, and I'm telling you, these things really do happen. I have also had to learn from watching that show. This is the other epiphany that I had. I noticed that when people pass away, everybody's experience has been different, more or less, with the exception of the two that went to hell. Because both of those two guys, it was a white man and it was a black man, and I think there was even two black men, because there was another black man a long time ago on another video. One man lost his arm in an accident, and he was hanging, and God came and pulled him up and pulled him out, and then there was another dude who went to hell, and and he was he was so angry, he wanted to face down the devil because his grandparents told him to go on, go on, it's okay, you're gonna be okay. And he's in hell, and he's like, why are they telling me to go? And so the devil was more focused on the people telling him to go, and so he was angry, and so he starts cursing at the devil and wailing and saying all this stuff to him, and then he finally looks at him and acknowledges him, and he just kind of sends him back, like, I'll get you later, I'm so sure that I'm gonna get you back. And when he went back, his grandparents said, I told you were gonna be okay, and to see these kinds of things. So both of the two men who passed away, the main thing that they said is they both described a smell that was so unbelievable. So unbelievable. They said you couldn't imagine how awful this smell is in hell. And but what I took from all of that, and I also read this. This is the other thing that I want to leave with you guys. This is the other reason why I don't do too many videos on spirituality. I do little things. I will share little things, but I read that you should not you shouldn't tell everybody that this is what's going to happen to them, because each person died and they had a different experience. My spiritual awakening was so unique, and because I'm new, I was telling you guys that this is what you can expect. This. But then as I read a book on spirituality, there was this section that said that you really shouldn't tell everybody exactly that your experience is going to be their experience, because everybody has, I told you guys, you all have to envision the universe giving everyone on the other side a map. This is where your journey is going to go. This is the things you're going to experience. This is this and this is that. These people are going to come in at this time, and you're going to learn this, and etc., etc., etc. Because everybody's journey is so unique. I cannot, and that's me learning, right? I cannot force you guys. I can't tell you this is what you're going to experience, because this is what I experience. This was my unique path, and so what I want to say to you guys is that your path is going to be very different from mine. If you have had an awakening, and yes, I love sharing the things that I have experienced, and yes, some things are I want to say for sure, like I said, angel numbers is a big one. Everybody, Kim Russo even talks about this as well. The other side leaving you feathers or leaving coins. I had a house that was 100 years old, and I always saw feathers all over the place. I thought my kids had I thought that they had holes in their coats or something, because I kept seeing feathers, perfect snow white feathers. And my house was full of orbs, like full of them. When I first bought the house, I was taking pictures, and I kept thinking that my lens was dirty. I kept rubbing it, and I take a picture, and I'm seeing all of these orbs. So there's all of this energy in this house, all of these entities, these energies. And so that is literally why I kept seeing so many feathers. I told you guys about the cat that resided in the house. I could hear the meow. and I felt it jump up on the bed. Like this is what I mean. I have had so many spiritual encounters with the other side that none of this is weird to me. None of it. This is why I say things with such conviction, with such certainty, with such matter of fact, because I've experienced it. I know. You know what I mean? So if you guys are like me and you have had spiritual experiences, I encourage you to share it, because I'm not someone who's going to say it's weird. None of those things are weird to me, and I think other people have trouble believing it because they've never experienced it. But because someone else doesn't experience something doesn't mean it doesn't make it any less true. So for those of you out there who are having these encounters, maybe you are having encounters with the other side. You're someone who can hear spirits, or you've got some kind of, any of the voyances, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, any of the clairs, you can smell cigars, I remember smelling a cigar. My guy friend's father passed away. He smoked cigars, and I kept saying, "Do you smell that?" And he said, "Smell what?" And I said, "The cigar smoke. You don't smell that?" And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "You don't smell that?" Like it would be so obvious to me. It would be times where I would go to the store and I would come back and I would smell, something fragrant, flowery, and we didn't have the windows open. When my brother was there, when I stayed with my brother briefly, when he left, I opened the windows. But when he was home, he would always close them and have the AC on. And so when we came in, it was cold, but I smelled that fragrance. And I was like, and I'm looking around like where is that coming from, So, yeah, a lot of you guys may have these abilities, Don't discount them. Just because you've seen something, and don't let anybody tell you that, anything you have experienced or felt or witnessed is not true. Okay, because they have not experienced it, don't make it any less true. Okay, sometimes, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the deal is. Why some people are so susceptible. I think it's because we're more open. I've always been very open. But unfortunately, and I've had to learn that as well, when you open yourself up, and I will tell you guys, be careful, because your energy is so open. If you are someone who is so open, you invite all that is ugly and negative into your world. I have always attracted the wrong kind of people because they're attracted to my light. I'm out there and I'm beaming and bright and bubbly and sweet, and you know what I mean? And they're like, yes, I must have that. You know what I mean? I can use that. I can manipulate that. So be very careful, okay? Because when you open yourself up, and that also goes for spiritual entities, you can also let in, negative energies from the other side. Okay, so just kind of, I've had to learn a lot on my spiritual path, a lot. I had to learn about boundaries. If you are spiritual, if you're someone who's used to being open, you're gonna probably have to learn that is going to be one of your spiritual lessons. Because I told you guys, once you have your awakening, you are going to have these experiences, and there was something else I wanted to say about that. I think embrace it, because look at it like this: God did not awaken you for you, because, and that was the other thing I wanted to say. I thought about this when I was at work. Okay, sometimes, like I said, people want you to just go along. Why can't you just be like the rest of us? Why can't you just do like everybody else is doing? Like, just do it. I heard this come into my head. God did not awaken you for you to continue on with the status quo, for you to go along. You're here to open eyes. It's like Moses. He wasn't sent here when it came time for him to go back and free the Hebrews. Okay, he didn't go back and go along. Well, I'll just butter up Ramses and try to be friends with him, and I'll just go along and I'll just do what everybody else is doing, and that'll endear me to other people, and then I'll just do it like that. No, Moses stood his ground. When Joshua said, we're going to go and I'm going to go get men, that we can do whatever it was, at Migdal. I forget how he says that, but he basically says, I'm going to go, round up some men so that we can go do this. And then Moses was like, no, it's not going to happen like that. It's going to be by the staff of a shepherd. He said, we're not going to do this by war, but by the staff of a shepherd, And you can imagine, them thinking, no, that's not how this is supposed to go. This is Pharaoh. You remember Pharaoh? Okay? And I know he's thinking that, but Moses was, the Most High did not waken him. He did not say, this is it. This is that time. This is that moment for him to placate and to go along. He said, no, I awakened you so that you can deliver the message, so you can do what I need you to do. And so for those of you out there, if you are experiencing, this is why. If you are someone who says, now that I've had my awakening, I don't know, everything has changed. I can't go. Once you've had an awakening, you just cannot go back to the status quo as much as you would like to, and this is how you've been awakened versus someone else, because others will just go along. This is what we're doing, and we need you to do this. And the universe and the Most High said, no, if I wanted you to do that, I would have had you do that. You know what I mean? I would have just said, okay, just go read and that's it, and good luck. But it didn't happen like that. It's like, my angel said, we want you to talk about this, and we want you to share that, and we want you to know this, because for me, my mission is to let you guys know that the Most High is. He is, and I might do it in unconventional ways, and I'm not like, no, I don't. I'm not like everybody else, but that's by design. The Most High knew that when he challenged me to do this, because I'm like, I've experienced these things, your Father, but I'm someone who has to live with mental illness. I have depression and anxiety, and so and then I'm just like, add to that my whole personality. It's like everybody's gonna think, this person's a nut job, but they're like, no, this is what I want you to do, and I need you to do it, and to hell with what others think, okay? Because I keep feeling somehow this is it's happening for a reason. Sorry, I got the windows open. It's kind of hot today, and I'm got me a little AC unit. I'm gonna hook it up tomorrow. But anyway, so but yeah, so those of you who are out there, it's okay to be you. You understand when you've had those who truly have had that awakening, and you've had experiences with the other side, and that the other side is, they're talking to you, they're communicating, they're showing, they're guiding, they're doing all these things. You get it. It's you can't go back. There's no going back to what you were before. There's no going back to doing what you were before. This is who you are. The universe knows this going in, and just do what I say, and just trust us. Okay, so that's what I did, and here I am. So but yeah, this is that overall general message, just to let you guys know, everybody's path is going to be different. We're all going to experience these different things. Okay, so but there's certain things that I can share, that I can say, yeah, this does happen, and there is this, and if you guys experience that, then there's things that you guys are going to experience that I'm not going to experience, that I don't. I have a friend who had an awakening, and when she likes to go to church. And so she says how she knows she's in the right church is that her body vibrates. Her whole body just vibrates, and she said it's like the most amazing feeling. That's how she knows that church is for her. So yeah, everybody's different. I've never had that, and I doubt seriously if I ever will. That's just not me. It's not my deal. It's not my thing. But anyway, so yep, I just want to leave that with you guys. Yeah, we're just having a little spiritual chit chat here. You guys are all going to experience something different. It's okay. And yeah, I just enjoy sharing, and I probably will do that. I probably won't do it all the time, but if I come across something, and I will try to do some readings for you guys as well. It's the energy is really difficult right now, and so it's just a little difficult right now, and we'll see. It's just like I said, the energy is a little, and I feel like I would just be one of many. Everybody is all I've been watching, and everybody has that same similar reading. It's all the same. I could listen to 20 different people, and 20 different people will all say the same thing. Past person, someone's, sorry they hurt you, or they're mad at this, and their ex is pissed because they still love, have feelings, or that person's mad. It's all the same. It gives almost third party ish situations, and it shows up in my reading too, and I just don't. I don't want to be a broken record. Bottom line, I feel like I would just be one of many in a broken record, and I'm trying not to do that. So, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go. I hope you guys liked the chit chat. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Nothing makes me happier than to tell you guys that yes, we're all different. We're all gonna have these different things. We've all been given different maps, and everybody's experience is going to be different. I just like sharing mine, I find them interesting, because it's like when you have those things, you're just like, oh my God. But I'm also learning that sharing, because they just seem so, unbelievable. A lot of people are like, that can't happen. That probably didn't happen. Or she's making that up. No, I could say it the same. I'll tell you the same story 10,000 times because it happened. Those things happen, and yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. I will see you guys next time on the next video. I might do a reading. If I don't do it tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and go though. I love you guys. I said that like 5 times. No, really, this time I'm gonna go. I love you guys. I will see you next time on the next video. You guys take care. Bye bye. You know what? Real quick, that person that's always imitating me, that's trying to what do they call it when they wanna I'm thinking shapeshifter, but no, not shape. Well, they're the shapeshifter of the worst kind. I'm not happy with my energy, so I'm going to, try to take yours. I'm going to, abscond with your energy, and you can't steal someone's, experiences. They could try, but they'd be lying, and everybody would know because I'm the only person who's literally had that happen, But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and go. I'll talk to you guys next time on the next video. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.